Welcome back to the Carl Crusher channel. Here in a minute, we're going to go over this mountain to an ancient petroglyph site. But for the context, I need to show you guys something really cool about the geology of this area that might have to do with what makes these places special or sacred to the ancient indigenous people.
You ready?
There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown. Look on the ground all around me. This is a place locally nicknamed Glitter Mountain. It's actually a selenite mine, and it's totally full of all this selenite crystal. One of the theories about the paranormal and strange phenomena that occurs in places like Skinwalker Ranch, and there's always this ancient Native American and indigenous artifacts around. And one of the theories is that the geology is unique. Like maybe there's some crystal or quartz geology that when it's under pressure from the fissures in the earth and the aquifer moving and flowing, that it creates some kind of a phenomena like a microwave radiation or gamma wave radiation or some sort of a electrical effect. And just look at all how under the ground it's just completely full. Here's some pieces somebody picked up and stacked on this rock. See that? The entire hillside here goes all the way underground. It's just like piles and piles of it. They call it Glitter Mountain because you come out here during the sunrise and sunset. It's just like glitter, broken glass everywhere. So the next spot that we're gonna go is not very far from here. We're just gonna drive up the dirt road, and I'm doing all of this because I have a project coming up with the Re-Indigenizing Minds group with Roger and Colleen, where we're going to do a presentation about Native Americans working with non-natives, with white people, on this project. So I'm gonna go 3D LiDAR scan, so like virtual scan this ancient petroglyph stone that Colleen is then going to transfer into this really cool like fractal indigenous geometry system that they have devised. And then Roger's going to show how this boulder with the petroglyphs on it and the 3D scan that I'm going to do actually aligns with this whole regional and global mapping system that the indigenous people used to use that he has figured out. So it's a really cool thing where we're combining this modern technology with my phone and with YouTube and through my Patreon and everything. And we're working together with these ancient mapping systems and this way of understanding the meaning behind the petroglyphs and how to connect with them today, and how the Re-Indigenizing Minds project and what we're doing together is trying to drop the prejudices, drop this idea that we're just criticizing and trying to control who gets to look at these things and talk about them, and realize that there's a deeper spiritual connection that's going on here and a meaning behind all of this that can help a lot of people if we focus on that first. And so that's where we're gonna go. We're gonna go back to this really amazing petroglyph stone and start on this 3D scanning project. We made it. This is the Little Black Mountain petroglyph site, and it is a huge area. So the petroglyphs are on these giant boulders that are scattered all along this whole trail that wraps all the way around this way to the west and the east, all the way this whole direction. I've been told that this was like a youth initiation site, but I have no idea. The petroglyphs tell a whole phenomenal story that seems to overlap with many different cultures and things, and we're gonna go do a lot of looking around at that as we get down there. But the main point is, as we go through this field of these giant boulders, so you can already see petroglyphs over here, we're gonna get to a spot over there where I'm gonna pull out that 3D scanning app through Polycam and do some 3D scanning and set up some other cameras like a thermal and everything like that. So let's just go this way and check it out. And now it's debatable whether or not this is extra toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or if that's something else off to the side. I don't know. But notice how the desert varnish on this depicts different layers. So these ones that are in the dark are much older than the ones that have been pecked a little bit newer. Either that or someone has come back and rubbed them out to refresh them. But you can tell the different age in the layers because of that. So you have an animal here on top of something a lot older, all this pattern, this line and that circle there. But really interesting. Let's keep going. Where we came from, where the glitter mine is right over there on the other side of that ridge right there. But look at this mountain. When I zoom in on it, you can see what I was talking about. Those veins that go all the way across this mountain. See that? They look like ropes. That is quartz selenite in veins all over, and there's entire chunks of it that break off that you can find all the way down on the ground. So something about that to this mountain. Look at that cute little bird sitting on top of the petroglyph right there. We made it. This is the main one and why we're here. They've even put this catwalk here so people don't try to climb up on top of it. I do have a selfie stick and everything. We're gonna get set up and do a whole 3D scan of this boulder. Look at that cute little bird up there. Hello, little bird. How adorable. Best view of the house. But look at this giant stone that has this whole like map or story that ties in, that is a big part of the beginning of the project that Roger and Colleen have all been working on together, where Colleen has been able to split image this giant boulder and reveal that there is a serpent head or face sort of hidden inside of it, as well as other interesting depictions on this rock. The lines that go off and point and all of that also connects to other places in the distance. If I zoom out a little bit and we go up higher here on the selfie stick, the wind is really blowing. I'm sorry about that. So the possibility of these alignments is very strong, right? Zoom in a little bit, do that again. We're gonna do the best that we can with all the wind blowing around here. I didn't bring my microphone, I forgot to do that. But I'm gonna set it here with a second camera and then the thermal imager pointed at this rock. And we're gonna walk down here a little bit farther, come up with a plan. There's the main boulder that we're focusing on today. And as I go up the trail to the west here, they're very scattered out. So doing a full LiDAR scan up and down this whole trail isn't really plausible. There's not really any petroglyphs on this one. So what we're gonna do is come back here to the main boulder. We'll get set up. I'm going to 3D scan the primary one and then do an area scan of this whole region around here with these two big boulders and the catwalk and stuff. So you can go onto my Patreon and join that inner circle group and be able to go onto the Google Drive and zoom all around there and be like you're here in person. So let's set up and do this area first. And then I know for a fact there's a really cool spot down this way. When we go down here, we'll set up and do it again, and we'll do the whole area and another really cool boulder that stands up like a good 15 feet tall. It's awesome. I started off this process by opening up the Polycam app, and then as I started the scan, I just also did a screen recording, a screen capture of that entire process. So on the left-hand side, you can see all of the mesh, the grid, how it sort of tracks over the top of the object, in this case, the giant petroglyph boulder and the ground and all of the details. On the right, you have the thermal imager, which is just set on full color image mode just to see if there's any anomalies. Sometimes I take electromagnetic frequency devices. I also take different types of sensors and night vision, and even go stay after dark in some of these locations to try and see if there's any other types of scientific data. So the whole process of this is to combine modern technology in a mobile way as cheaply as possible. You can see the wind has blown my thermal imager up, so now it's like pointing up at the sky and you can barely see anything. So let's just go out to the wide angle view. You can see how the modern technology now allows us to go to these locations and begin to record and preserve them in virtual reality. When you're done scanning all of this and you process it out, you can do it as an entire area, like a room, or you can do it as a specific object, and you can do big objects or small ones. And I think this is something people that are working at museums or that have different types of ancient artifacts they're worried about preserving, or a new and exciting way to share this stuff. Specifically with the Re-Indigenizing Minds project, with Roger and Colleen, we are taking the alignments off of the petroglyphs on the top of these boulders and aligning them with other locations in the mapping system that Roger has been working on, that he has inherited and begin to figure out. And you can see as we scan a little bit on here, there's so many different levels and years and years of petroglyph carving on these rocks, where you have newer ones over top of older ones with the desert varnish underneath the newer carvings. But this app is really amazing, and especially when you see the final results, hopefully you can also grasp the potential of this project. And I hope other people take part and start joining and doing this, because there's a way to preserve these places and make them more accessible and available for educational reasons, and for people who have mobility issues or disabilities and things and have a difficult time getting out to these places. I know as I get older and I start to struggle with chronic pain issues and things like that, there's going to come a time where going out into these locations is going to become more and more difficult. But being able to put on virtual reality headsets and revisit these places as many times as I want, especially with all the advancements in that technology, the potential is just really huge. Also with classroom environments, and when there's development going on and we need to record and preserve artifacts for research for later time, you can all jump on here in virtual reality in 3D and then revisit these places. So now you can see how the app basically takes that boulder and begins to take all of those little images and little triangles and stitches it all together. And you can even see that little green diamond moving around. That's my phone. Still going? We are. All right, good. I'm also battling with dying cameras. So I'm using this little Insta360 camera that I have set up to get the wide shots. And I basically did maybe 2 takes with this and it's already dead. My thermal imager is holding up okay, but it, you know, it doesn't get like the best images and stuff. It's just interesting, and the wind is blowing it around. I'm gonna try and get an area scan, and we'll just screen capture that. I went back over this location several times, and 2 of the attempts actually failed. The results in the app crashed and just recorded a flat plane, but I got 2 good attempts in, and 1 of the 3D scans turned out really well, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. I'm going to show you the full details, but this is what it looks like in the different versions of scanning when you use Polycam. So this is what the initial results look like on your phone. And then you go to the website and you can log in and upload it from your phone to there and get the full resolution scan. And this is what we got. And I hope now you can see the real potential of this whole project of preservation. Keep in mind that just on the other side of this mountain, where all of these petroglyphs are in this ancient and sacred location, is a whole bunch of development going on and subdivisions and modern progress. And so preserving these places in the best way that we possibly can, I think in every way possible, is something that we have a responsibility to do if you feel drawn to do this kind of work. And I'm excited to be a part of this project, especially as I get better and better and the technology gets better. Now, as we go around this petroglyph boulder, you're going to notice that there is some flaws in the data. Across the top of this whole thing, you have what looks like a strip of the sky, where in doing the 3D scanning, it just picked up a little bit of the overhang of the sky going off the top edge there and creates that illusion. But it gets really good detail, and you notice how you can zoom in 3-dimensionally and move around in different ways. So you can go up and down and look at all of it from above and below. Like, you can't just climb on top of this boulder, and it would be wrong to do so in any way, or even to get up there and touch it. But with this app and with just being able to scan it, you can get a very good idea, especially just for educational purposes. Like, what's up there? Is there any petroglyphs underneath that little puddle? What is the different layers of the darker petroglyphs underneath? And take your time to zoom in and look from different angles at this entire story. And there's a lot of potential of what you could do with all of this information. And then you start to notice more things, because you can pan around and look and line everything up, especially as you expand the project and go back and do the rest of the boulders and go to other locations. And if we could find a way to drop this in and have it work with Google Earth, like, it could be really cool. You notice a lot of amazing details for just a simple app on the phone. It really captures it. You can see there is some blurring and some quality details, like I said, that picked up some of the sky, the blue and the white across the top ridge there. So you have to sort of overlook some of the flaws, but for the most part, when you get up close and look, the detail is all there. You can see the layers of the carvings, the detail. You can get a good idea, if you slowed down and took your time and did it right, is there any artifacts on the ground that you missed last time that you were there? And then you can get in really tight into these angles that you wouldn't even physically be able to do, and look up into cracks and crevices and other places and really get up close and personal without even touching anything, even go underneath the object and zoom around. But I think it makes this whole project really fun, and it helps protect and preserve these, as well as make it available for other research opportunities and alignments and interpretations, to digitize this and make it virtual, so that we can take it into this new era and combine it with the ancient teachings and messages behind what it all means. I think it's really beautiful. I tried to do 2 different types of 3D scanning around that big boulder with the map on it on the Polycam, and both times I probably spent a half an hour on it, and they just crashed and the files did not turn out. So I'm going to do another object scan with this other giant boulder. Now, this is down the east side of the trail instead of going to the west. So this is going the opposite direction. And a lot of these probably point over to the Giant Serpent Valley, or what they call Warner Valley Trail, where there's tons and tons of petroglyphs and other maps very similar to this. So I'm going to pull up Polycam again. We're going to try to screen record and 3D scan this one as well with the LiDAR. And hopefully this one turns out, because I've had 2 crashes and now all my batteries are dying. So let's see if we could set up the thermal and get some more data here. The rest of this series, including part 2 and the 3D scanning of this giant petroglyph and other locations, is going to be available on my Patreon Inner Circle page if you want to check that out. Also, make sure to join the MUFON Marin Sonoma monthly meeting, March 2nd, 2024 at 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. It's $10 to the public, $5 for MUFON members, where we're going to be going over all of this in great detail. So I hope to see you all there, and we'll see you in the next one.